All right. This is a video where I'm addressing a subscriber of mine. I think he subscribed to me because I seen him comment on a couple of my videos. A guy named the Equalizer. And he's saying, like, he demands that I address why Curry broke Jordan's record of 72-10 and unanimous MVP. He's breaking all of Jordan's records. He's better than Michael. Well, first of all, I think it's asinine to compare team accomplishments and confuse those with individual accomplishments. The Chicago Bulls won 72 games in 95-96, not Michael Jordan. Just as the Golden State Warriors won 73 games this year, not Stephen Curry. The narcissism in today's world and the focus on solo and the focus on star athletes instead of the team aspect is really sickening, and it's really disgusting and sad to see how it's affected a lot of people in the way they think about sports. I remember reading a couple of years ago, somebody wrote something like, Tom Brady scored 47 points. That's more points than I forgot the quarterback that they compared him to. It was a play. I'm like, dude, it's 50 people on the fucking roster. What are you talking about? What you mean he scored? I think the receivers are the ones that run into the fucking end zone, not Tom Brady. But that's a team accomplishment, man. And about this unanimous MVP thing, well, I did a video a couple weeks ago where I was talking about how the league is so top heavy now. You really only have 3, maybe 4 superstars. Whereas I think I gave the example of 86, 87, but it was other years as well. The top 15 players, as far as MVP balloting, I think like 11 of them are Hall of Famers. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's not 11 people. I guarantee you 10, 11, or 12 of the top 15 in the Hall of in the MVP consideration this year are not going to the Hall of Fame. They're not. So that has something to do with why Curry won unanimous MVP this year. And don't forget, LeBron James came within 1 vote 2 years ago of being the first unanimous MVP. But you had some asshole who I guess don't like LeBron, and maybe LeBron dissed him or did something to piss him off, and he chose to vote for Carmelo Anthony, which I still to this day don't understand. How in the fuck do you vote for Carmelo Anthony? That's just a protest vote. So like in election of 1820, when James Monroe should have won a unanimous electoral college victory, but one asshole wanted to keep that honor for George Washington. It was a protest vote, and that's all it was, a protest vote. But everybody loves Curry. All right. I'm going to do a comparison between Stephen Curry and Michael Jordan. Individual players, accomplishment, statistics. But I thought it'd be better, since Curry has played 7 seasons. And some guys don't even know that. Some people think Curry, this is his 2nd year. They think Curry just came to the NBA last year and led the Golden State Warriors to 2 titles. He's been playing since 2009. He used to run second fiddle. Used to play second fiddle to Monte Ellis. So, while Jordan's been doing his thing, since he came to the league in October '84. So I'm going to compare the first 7 years for both guys. And you tell me who you think is the better player. All right? First 7 years for both guys. And I thought it'd be fair because if you take Jordan's totals career numbers, it includes his downside. Curry hasn't gone to his downside of his career yet. He probably has another 4 or 5 years in his prime before he starts playing to his downside. if he plays that long. But all right, here we go. Career field goal percentage, Curry, 47.7%. Jordan, 52%. Advantage, Jordan. 3-point field goal percentage, 44.4% for Curry, 28.6% for Jordan. Advantage, Curry by a mile. I'll admit that. Free throw percentage, Curry, 90.2%. In fact, I believe Curry is the third most accurate free throw shooter of all time, behind Steve Nash and Mark Price. So he's in a class all by himself when it comes to free throw accuracy. Jordan, 84.9%. Very good, just not quite Curry. Advantage, Curry. Points, 11,089. Regular season, by the way. Jordan, 16,596. Advantage, Jordan by a mile. All right, Curry led the NBA in total steals twice. Jordan led the NBA in total steals twice. Now remember, this isn't his whole career. This is up until the 1991 season, after the 1991 season. All right. Curry led the NBA in free throw percentage 3 times. I'm going to go with Curry for a while. Led the NBA in three-pointers made 4 times. Led the NBA in three-pointers attempted 4 times. Led the NBA in field goals made once this season. 2-point field goal percentage outside three-pointers. 50.3% accuracy from 2-point field goals. 886 career steals. Jordan led the NBA in total points 6 times. Led the NBA in free throw attempts once. Led the NBA in free throw attempts made twice. Led the NBA in field goal attempts 4 times. Led the NBA in field goals made 5 times. Now what that suggests is Jordan was a very accurate scorer because he led the NBA in field goals made more than he did in field goal attempts. Led the NBA in minutes played 3 times. Now, some people will say, oh, well, that means that Jordan worked harder to score his points. There's some truth to that, but it also indicates an argument that many of us say that because Curry doesn't have to work quite as hard to score as Michael did, that means that his teams that he's playing on have more talent. Much as later on in Jordan's championship years, he didn't have to work as hard to score. Jordan's 2-point field goal percentage, Curry's was 50.3%, Jordan's 53.3%, far more accurate. Steals, 1,412. Career averages, Curry, 22.4 points, Jordan, 32.6 points, more than 10 points more per game. Far better score. Matter of fact, let me just go with Curry for a second. This is Curry. Now remember these numbers. 22.4 points per game, 4.3 rebounds a game, 6.9 assists per game, 1.8 steals per game, 0.2 blocks per game, 3.2 turnovers per game, and he's won 1 scoring title this season. Now these are very good numbers. I would compare these numbers, with the exception of assists, I would compare these numbers to Drazen Petrovic. Although I do think that his assist-to-turnover ratio is a bit high. 6.9 assists to 3.2 turnovers is a bit high for a point guard. Jordan, 32.6 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game. Now Jordan, the so-called ball hog, right? The so-called ball hog. Remember I said Curry had 6.9 assists per game? Jordan, 5.9 assists per game. 2.8 steals per game. 1.1 blocks per game. 3.1 turnovers per game. Now, this is a guy, Jordan had the ball a lot, especially earlier on in his career. usage percentage really high, still averaged fewer turnovers than Curry, the so-called wizard with the basketball. 5 scoring titles at that particular time for Jordan. Curry, 117 offensive rating, 106 defensive rating. Jordan, 120 offensive rating, 104 defensive rating. Playoffs. Curry, 25.7 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, 6.8 assists per game, 1.7 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game. Jordan, 34.6 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game. Now this is the one that's mind-boggling. Jordan, the ball hog, right? Remember I said Curry, 6.8 assists per game. Jordan, the so-called ball hog, 7.1 assists per game, 2.5 steals per game, 1.1 blocks per game. Curry, in the playoffs, 44.9% field goal shooting, 41.2% three-point percentage, 87.5% from the foul line. That means that Curry is shooting nearly 3% worse overall in the postseason, 3% worse from downtown, and about 2.5 percentage points lower from the foul line. But that's kind of expected because you're playing against tougher competition. Jordan, 50.9% from the floor. It's very rare to shoot over 50% in the postseason, especially a perimeter player. 32% three-point percentage. Now remember I said in the regular season it was 28.6%. But for some reason Jordan was the better outside shooter in the postseason. 83.5% from the foul line. Now, these are awards and accolades. Curry, two-time NBA All First Team, one-time All NBA Second Team, the 2015 three-point shootout champion. He's been in 3 All-Star games. He's a 2-time league MVP. Now, this one can change as recently as this one can change tonight. 1 NBA championship. If Golden State wins tonight, that goes to 2 NBA championships. Now, Jordan, 1 NBA championship, 1 NBA Finals MVP. Now, that's another thing. For a guy who's being compared to the GOAT, last year Curry did not even win Finals MVP. It was Andre Iguodala, a guy who sometimes comes off the bench. Now, if Curry probably scores over 20, 25 points tonight and they win, he'll probably win Finals MVP. But because of the fact that there's a debate about it, a debate about whether he would win Finals MVP, strongly suggests that he's almost a just slightly greater among equals on his own team. There was no debate with Jordan with Finals MVP except for 1 year. 1 year. And that was in 96, where I thought that Dennis Rodman should have earned consideration to win Finals MVP in 96. Other than that, every year was no debate about who was going to be the MVP, the Finals MVP of 5 out of those 6 championships. And he won it in all 6. Seven-time All-Star at age 28 by Jordan. The All-Star Game MVP in 1988, scored 40 points. 40 points. At home in Chicago. I mean, the guy was a phenomenal player. And many of you only see him in the highlights when he was an older man, hitting a shot over Byron Russell, the reverse over Greg Olszewski. That was an old man by NBA standards at that time. Jordan in the 80s was an athletic wonder. Five times by age 28, he was on the All-NBA first team. One time All-NBA second team. That was a year that he only played 18 games. In 1988, he was the Defensive Player of the Year. One of the few guards to win that award. Other guards that come to mind are Sidney Moncrief, Gary Payton, and Alvin Robertson. Four times by age 28, he was on the all-defensive team. Two-time slam dunk champion. And he was a 1984-85 Rookie of the Year. So I think if you listen to these numbers, it's not a really close, it's not close at all between the two. I think it's actually kind of an insult, to be honest with you, to even suggest that, it's even close. It's not. It really is not. And I don't know what else to say to you guys, Curry, Player of the Week in the NBA 7 times. Jordan, 25 times. Player of the Month, Curry, 5 times. Jordan, 16 times. I mean, it's just no comparison, man. And you gotta understand, it's sort of like, if I, were comparing actors or something, and I said that, I think Sean William Scott is in the same league. He's in the same league, man. You gotta hear me out, man. I think he's just as good as Robert De Niro. Well, I think Kevin Hart is just as good an actor as Denzel Washington. I mean, it's just, well, maybe that's sort of, maybe that's stretching it, because Curry is very good. But it's sort of like saying Will Smith has the same acting chops as Samuel L. Jackson. I'll put it like that. Will Smith is good, but he's not Samuel L. Jackson. I think that's a better comparison. So I tell you what, in conclusion of this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two comments on there. And one of them is going to say, if you think that Stephen Curry is better than Michael Jordan, thumb this up. If you think that Michael Jordan is better than Curry, another comment, thumb this up. And you guys leave me your comments and tell me what you think.